Hello, how are you all doing today? My name is Colin Andrews, and I have something to admit to all 40 of you out there, and that is that I am a fraud. You see, I claim to be a cinephile, as pretentious as that word has become in recent years, but I actually am not, and I can't claim to be because I'm missing one big, huge chunk of filmography in my repertoire, and that is mainstream blockbusters, most popular movies of all time that came out in the 90s and the 80s and the early 2000s. All of the most, imagine the most popular film you can think of. I haven't seen it because I spent a lot of time in my cinematic development watching art house films and stuff that I was actually really interested in seeing, and stuff that my palate was leaning towards at the time. So I never really got around to these mainstream releases, but I'm going to do that now. So this is a new series called The Quest for Classics, in which every week I will be watching a classic film and giving my thoughts on it and certifying whether it is a classic or it's completely overhyped, from my perspective, that is. So the first week I wanted to go with something everybody knew. It's prominent and prevalent in today's society, and that was Jurassic Park, directed by Steven Spielberg. So these reviews are going to have three specific parts to them. Part one is going to be my impressions going into the film, what I thought I was going to get from it. Part two is going to be my actual review of the film, and part three is where I will discern, I don't know why I said discern whether it is a classic or not. So without further ado, let's get into Jurassic Park, The Quest for Classics. Going into this, I actually wasn't super excited, believe it or not, because it has two things going against it. One is it is directed by Steven Spielberg, and if we're being honest with each other, I am not really a big Spielberg guy. I haven't really seen a lot of his old projects. A lot of them are going to be on here, to be honest with you, but the projects that I have seen from him come off as incredibly overrated to me, and I don't think he's as much of a visionary as other people have cited in their discussions about him. Also, it's a big, grand-scale adventure film, and generally it seems like those invest a lot of budget and a lot of time into everything surrounding the story, but they never really take the time to put in a well-thought-out, well-written story. So I was a little shaky on the fence. I figured it would be good because I've seen some clips from it and they looked good from what I remember. But again, that was like 5 years ago, so it could have not have been good. But I was on the fence about it, but leaning towards it'll be a fun watch. Jurassic Park 100% exceeded my expectations in all aspects of the film. But the first one that I have to talk about, because it's such an important part of it, is the CGI dinosaurs. Wow. Oh my God. The effects in this film with the dinosaurs are amazing. They 100% hold up to this day, and they look so good. And what makes them look so good is the way that they interact with their surroundings is so permanent. There's a genuine feeling of interaction going on with the way that, the kids pet the dinosaurs and they interact with their environments. I think it works better than most mainstream films nowadays work with their CGI. Color Me impressed completely. They knocked it out of the ballpark. Another thing that I found very, very impressive was the ensemble-ish cast, specifically my main man, Jeff Goldblum, being the very, very Gen Z character of the film. Absolutely loved him. He stole the show every time that he was on screen. Laura Dern and Sam Neill were really, really great leads. Sam Neill especially really, really impressing me. Richard Attenborough is very, very good as a mad genius kind of coming to realize what his creation is actually and not the fantasy of his creation in his head is. And I mean, what film doesn't need a good Samuel L. Jackson minor supporting performance? The answer is none. And honestly, I was actually really impressed by the story of the film. Blockbusters like this are usually lacking in the story category, but I'm not a rapper. And this one wasn't. It was very interesting in the way that it wove different scientific aspects and elements into different storylines and made it very cohesive. And also, it wasn't just scientific mumbo jumbo being spewed out. It was actual tangible things that the audience could easily digest and put two and two together with. In order to be fair to this, though, I do have to go over my negatives, and there is one main negative for me, I think it's a negative that I've seen around a lot, and it's the kids. Kid actors. Here's the thing, right? I personally don't think, aside from the random comment that Laura Dern makes at the beginning of the film about how, oh, don't you want kids, Sam Neill? And then the other kids are brought in, and it's like, oh, he's actually a good father, you know? I don't really think they were necessary to the story, and their performances weren't good enough to warrant them being there. And they significantly detracted from it especially when you have such powerhouses like David Attenborough, did I say David Attenborough? Richard Attenborough. Like Jeff Goldblum, like Sam Neill, like Laura Dern. Like Sam Jackson. I would have much rather seen screen time dedicated to them than to these kids that didn't add anything to the story whatsoever. Wayne Knight is also just really, really bad in this and really annoying. He plays his classic Wayne Knight character, like, whoa, what's going on? He's super, super incompetent, super, super annoying, both his performance and his actual character. And in a film like this, I know that the eventual villains are the dinosaurs themselves, but I think your human villain needs to be a bit more capable. I know that the whole inciting incident is basically because of his incapability and incompetence, but I would have preferred something better there, especially, and you know what, even if they weren't to do something better there, I would have preferred that his backstory and storyline be expanded upon a little bit and not just left to die, no pun intended, about halfway through the film. That just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. But yeah, other than those couple of things, I really thought that Jurassic Park was a good film. It falls under both of my criteria for film, and that is I enjoyed it a lot, and I also thought it was a good film, because to me those aren't mutually exclusive things. But luckily Jurassic Park is both for me. So we finally arrive at the moment of reckoning, and that moment is the question: is Jurassic Park a classic to me? And the answer to that question is barely. Yes, it does fit into the classic category. The kids and Wayne Knight's character really hold it down and try and submerge it under that classic status, but the fact that this can be enjoyed by the entire family on a movie night, the fact that this has the longevity that it's had, and the fact that they're still making movies based on this property 30 years later, that has got to say something about whether this is a classic or not. And because it is such a good film, in addition to all of those things, it is going to get the stamp of approval of classic for me, and it is going to fall into our number one slot on the Quest for Classics Letterboxd list, which I will leave in the description. I'll be updating every episode. So thank you so much for watching the first episode of Quest for Classics. This is going to be a weekly thing. I'm going to be uploading it every Wednesday. Next episode is going to be The Godfather. And yeah, I hope this does well. I want it to do well, and I like doing this, and I like expanding my comfort zone to films that I usually wouldn't watch. As corny as that sounds, you wouldn't watch like the most popular films of all time. Yeah, you know, everyone has their own tastes. Sorry about that. Anyways, thank you so much for watching once again. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will talk to you in the next one. goodbye. Also, leave comments in the comments section of recommendations for this series, please. I know that I'll have some, but if there are some other ones that I don't think of, I really would hope that you guys give me some suggestions. I love you so much. Okay, bye. Mwah.